Our guest of honour here today, who's going to start our race, this is Stephanie. Stephanie, you're a cancer survivor. You went through that a couple of years ago. Quite an interesting story because you don't see it much as a challenge with cancer. You see it more as a sort of performance, as a dance. Can you explain a little bit about that and how that thought sort of helped you through coping with cancer?
I can indeed. I'm sure I'm not the only person here who's experienced cancer, and I'm sure I'm not the only person who was told that I needed to fight, and if I battled I would win. And I'm sure I'm not the only person here who at heart is really uncomfortable with the idea of fighting, because I'm not someone who fights. And I really don't like the idea that anyone who has died as a result of cancer has lost a battle. That seems to me to be really unfair, when they've probably put their heart and their soul into trying to survive. So I decided that I would dance with cancer. It was 5 years since I was diagnosed, and I thought, well, nobody dies of dancing. You know, I'll do it for a bit, and then the music will stop, the dance will be over, and I'll move on with my life. And that's what I've done. So yeah, that's the language that I chose, and I'm really happy that I did.
And yes, absolutely. Along with the dance, you also went on to write a book about your experiences as well. Something that I read myself when my mum had cancer in September and sort of danced with it herself. In the book, you sort of quite motivational about the way people should be thinking about cancer at different stages. How did writing that book, how about doing the blog, how did that help you personally?
That's a really good question.
Yes.
I just pressed control here. How did I come to write the books? Well, I started by blogging really just as a kind of practical way to let people know what was happening. I lived in London at the time, a long way from my family, and I really wanted everyone to know how I was doing without having to make 20 phone calls an evening when I really kind of wasn't up to talking very much. So I started pragmatically blogging, and then I went on to write a book about my experiences. And particularly because my background is in thinking skills and creativity, I used the skills that I used at work when I had cancer to do things like talk to oncologists and ask a lot of questions and choose to think differently about the way that I approached the dance and the way that I organised my time. So all of this eventually led to writing a book. But whether you write a book or not, I think the really, really helpful thing about the blog was to every day sit down and write a little something that helped me to process my experience. And I think whether you're someone who's dancing with cancer or whether you're someone who is experiencing someone you love dancing with cancer, which personally I think is worse, you know, I'd rather do it myself than see someone in my family do it, then I think that little daily experience of writing something down or talking about it or processing things in a very small way is probably the single most important thing of everything that I did to help me to be kind of relatively kind of well today.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Just, you know, we have raffle tickets on sale today, just at the end of as you're heading out of the course. Our third prize is 2 of the books that Stephanie have written herself, so you can get hold of them through the raffle, as well as purchasing them. Stephanie, this isn't your first race for life. No. Any advice for people out there who this might be their first experience of the run?
Yeah, I did 2 races for life in London. My daughter and I did the biggest one ever, which was just awful. It was just, if you think we've stood in the field for a long time, believe me, this was just hours and hours of standing in the field. I think there were 18,000 people there. And I did we did a medium-sized one as well. I'm sure I'm not the only person who's doing this not for the first time. I think let's enjoy it, and let's really remember why we're here on 2 levels. I think on one level, let's celebrate and let's be glad that we're here to do this thing. But let's also remember and hold in our hearts the people that we've lost and the people that we wish were with us. And also, let's get warm.
Yes, we'll do. Ladies and gentlemen, give a round of applause. Stephanie Butland, our guest of honour tonight. Thank you very much.